TOPLOBSTA Productions.
And I know it sounds new agey and whack, but like the liver is connected to resentment and anger, and resentment is like just replaying that situation. I was obsessed like over like weed, alcohol. I was like obsessed, like I could not stop. And he said to pray to have it removed. And I did, and it was removed. And I was like, okay, there's something bigger going on that I'm not aware of.
I think the second you stop asking yourself, like, am I doing the right shit? Am I moving in the right way? That's when you totally lose the plot. I think we did it first, and then it started to, and then it made sense to me later on. And I do think like to be a dangerous is to be, you know, the fool in the hero's journey who becomes the hero, because you know, it's like everybody calls you like Tim Pool told Top that he was too retarded to stop. I think I'm really grateful that that mechanism is broken within me. I don't really seem to get too wrapped up in people.
It's wild because to break through from the crowd and be able to just say F them and just do what you do, it takes a very strong like a person to do something like that. He's the dangerous retard on my team to go in the battle.
Yeah, he's the one that's going to step in the front and take all the arrows. And he's definitely taking a lot of arrows right now.
We are being hypnotized by people like this. Newsreaders, politicians, teachers, lecturers. We are in a country and in a world that is being run by unbelievably sick people. The chasm between what we're told is going on and what is really going on is absolutely enormous.
Oh yeah, dude. There's some Nephilim shit.
It's like we all know what's going down, but no one's saying shit what happened to the home of the brave. These motherfuckers, they controlling us now, and no one's talking about how they made us fight and be slaves. And everybody's just walking around, head in the clouds and won't awaken to a dead in the grave. But then it's too late, we need to be ready to raise up. Welcome to the end of days.
Everybody is slaves, only some are aware that the government releasing poison in the air.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Nephilim Death Squad. I am David Lee Corbo, a.k.a. The Raven. That is TOPLOBSTA, the father of disinformation. Before we get into today's guest, I would like to remind all of our live viewers that this is a 30-minute preview only. Sometime around the 30-minute mark, we'll be going live exclusively to patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad, where you can continue engaging in the live chat, enjoying this conversation, as well as an ad-free viewing experience. And you can do it all for free. If you sign up for the 7-day free trial, not only will you gain access to everything I just said, but you'll also be there when the tickets for Bohemian Grove drop. I don't know exactly when. We're closing in on it now. I anticipate it'll be probably within that 7-day free trial. And we want to make sure that our Patreon viewers get first dibs on these tickets, because as soon as they go out to the general public, they're going to fly off the shelves. So if you want all of that, if you want access to this event, if you want to be able to get those tickets, patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad is for you.
That's right.
Joining us. Oh, that's right. Go ahead. What is right?
No, that's right. I just want to say something. I'm here too. Yeah,
that is correct. I'm sorry. I do the tangent and I just step all over you.
Oh, good. You did it great. I let you roll. It was nice this time. Go ahead.
It kind of feels nasty when I do it. Anyway, joining us today is Donut. Everybody say what up to Donut. Before we get into the show, Donut, where can everybody find your work? What is it that you focus on?
Yo, what up? It's Donut, and I focus on the Illuminati news. And thank you for having me on. I'm very glad to be here. Congratulations to both of y'all. Success. Just everything that you do, you keep on stepping the game up. And I think you guys teach a lot of the world about teamwork, making the dream work.
That's nice. Behind the scenes, we actually hate each other, and it's nothing but a constant stream of insults and threats. But somehow in that chaos, we do manage to get things done. Donut, where can people find you? Where can they support you? Where can they look at your stuff?
You could find me at DOENUT. I spell it like donut, and we go over the occult symbols. I'm all over the place, all over the web. And also, do you guys communicate telepathically? Because when I work with someone for such a long time, we start speaking where we just know how they're feeling and all that.
Kind of.
Have we infiltrated each other's minds yet? Are we that deep?
I can tell when he's off. Like the last couple of days, he's been off, and the Celsius thing actually makes sense. Actually, Donut, maybe you could like walk us down this.
I would
know
love to talk about that because
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the word, not because I'm self-censoring, but because it's very hard for the AI to censor this word. It's a fun combination of two words. But I've been creating a particular universe on.
Yeah.
I've been making everybody black, and I think I've been kind of in a bit of a manic state, and I didn't realize it until I had gotten up at 2:00 in the morning one day a couple of days ago, and I said to myself, "Oh my word. What are people going to think that I've been making them black? I haven't even stopped to think about the people I've been making black." And somehow that really did, it almost like shook me a little bit. I also did it to cats, but I'm not really, cats aren't people. And so I'm not too concerned about that. But, and also it came out really well. I realized that
it wasn't
what
that,
may
that,
have been
David.
the catalyst was Celsius.
Yeah, it wasn't just that cued me off. It was like we did one of the better episodes we've ever had with Nathaniel Gillis. If you ever get a chance to talk to him. The guy's like I guess he's an incubus succubus specialist. This kind of thing. Also deals in
That sounds like a sexual occupation.
Yeah, well, no, I mean it was an amazing episode. David doesn't remember any of it because he was in a fugue state from like a mix of Celsius and creating this like AI mixture of white people turned to black. And but even before that, I could tell something was off. Like I was just messaging you, and the way you were answering me, I was like, something's wrong.
You know
with
what
this
I think
guy.
it is? So I don't process stress very well. And the way that it ends up manifesting is I don't feel it whatsoever until all of a sudden I feel it all at once. And it's so foreign to me because I don't feel it on a normal basis that I can't even identify what's happening to me. I just know I'm really reactive today, and that isn't great for some people on Twitter. They end up catching the wrong end of that stick. But it's no fault of their own even. And I don't know if it's any fault of mine. I swear it is the fault of Celsius. And I'll tell you what, I'm even cautious to explore this idea because our buddy from the Phone Booth podcast, Ted, he got a effectively like a cease and desist letter from Celsius.
Really?
Yeah,
well, Celsius,
dude.
right there sees the third letter. It's next to a degree, so it's the third degree. And some say that the Theosophist, Helen Blavatsky, and whatnot plans was to initiate the world in a third degree Masonic ritual as the first 3 steps or the most important on the world stage as well. This is why you got to judge hitting the gavel 3 times in baseball. There's 3 strikes, 3 outs, 33. And the big Jake Paul Tyson moon butt ritual that was streamed on Netflix. Everyone saw the Celsius, the third degree ritual on stage. And that's what I think it is. I think a lot of the control system is through symbolism, and it won't be the downfall. It'll be the people's downfall because people react, like you said, to certain symbols. If I posted a Star of David on my Twitter, think about how many people are controlled by a symbol where they will react. So there's definitely power in symbolism. And there's a great quote by Alfred Korzybski said, "Who rules our symbols rules us." So there's nothing evil with a symbol, but through the imprinting of your tribe, of your nation, of your favorite football team or sports star, whatnot, the imprinting goes into the autonomic nervous system on a cellular level, which is different than brainwashing. The MK Ultra projects failed in a lot of ways because a lot of people who had a faith or a belief of, something could shake off the mind control. But the mind control through imprinting is much more effective. And that is what's happening. And I know that might sound pretty deep. I could go into it even.
Well, no, it's a fascinating concept because I've been pointing out a lot of, along with this Orphic egg that keeps popping up in a lot of ceremony lately, there's also the presence of symbolism that you could correlate with like the divine feminine or the goddess. And that's like an inverted triangle or an inverted pyramid, or the moon is often a symbol that's associated with that. But these are, the moon's not evil, right? Oh, actually, I don't know. Some people do think that the moon is out there to like eat souls, right? That's where Pac-Man came from. The video game Pac-Man is about the moon eating souls.
It's a Gucci symbol.
Right. So, but outside of that, I mean, I don't think that the moon is inherently evil, and certainly an upside down triangle isn't inherently evil. It's something that pops up in nature. You know, it happens quite naturally. It's a geometric shape that's fundamental to the realm that we inhabit. So I do agree with that these symbols, it's almost like they just get hijacked.
Absolutely, they get hijacked all throughout centuries because they're already deep in our subconscious mind. Like I got a rose on my head, and there's tons of rose symbols. I just like how this looks. I think it looks cool.
I literally have a blue hat with a rose on it, just like that.
It looks cool. But these symbols get hijacked. You got the Tudor rose. You see, it's a dope symbol, and it gets hijacked and used. And it's very important to use these symbols, get rid of the old generation of useless eaters, and imprint the new generation with symbols and give it a meaning behind it. And then you can control the symbol through the imprinting of that symbol. And yeah, the moon, the yoni. I look at all this stuff on the world stage, like Katy Perry going up into space, holding up the daisy. Like,
can we have that video? Let's play it a little bit and let's talk about it. Not Celsius.
Yeah.
We're sorry, Celsius. Please don't come for us. Here, let's play this. Oh wait, that's my end. I gotta press play.
Hey, Flynn, I got you. I got you, Flynn. Oh, the moon! You guys, I have to tell you, look at the moon. Look. Okay.
Look at the moon.
Look at the moon. Oh my gosh. So whoa. That's amazing.
Oh, there's a butterfly. She's flashing a butterfly. Especially in such a short video where symbols count for everything. And if you really look at this, there's at least 3 just off the top of my head that I can identify. I'm sure if you really looked into it, there'd be a lot more. But this is a confusing moment. Because we have this tendency. I know that a disproportionate amount of celebrities and high level, let's say influential people are interested in subnautic adventure. They have their licenses for deep ocean submersibles. We saw that happen with the big famous submersible that happened a few years ago now that collapsed underwater. Yes. And so we have that. Now we have the opposite of it. It's like, there seems to be some gaining of knowledge, this gnosis that is either at the bottom of the ocean or at the tallest peaks, right? Like spiritual concepts about people climbing high places to gain access to either wisdom, insight, or entities. But through any other context besides what I just talked about, it's very strange to send these women into space. If you believe they even went to space. And it's also strange that the only one that I can identify is Katy Perry. So they took a bunch of people that nobody really knows, and then Katy Perry is there, and that gives it some notoriety. And then we launch them into the upper atmosphere, or at least that's what they want you to think. And as far as I can identify, it just looks like a big ritual. It's rife with all kinds of symbols, and I don't know. I'm excited to talk to you about it because I said if there's anybody that can make some sense of this, it's going to be Donut. So what was your take on it?
Well, the submersible exploded with the billionaires in the ocean down below. Then you got as above, so below. That was during the summer solstice, which is, when you get Bohemian growth. And then this was the spring equinox. So it was like above. And then you get the superb owl, right? The Super Bowl, which is probably the biggest ritual in world history that we know about because we have Netflix and television and cell phones. So everybody's partaking in the ritual, charging the symbols. So them going up into space, I think it was sort of a completion because I'm looking at this stuff for a few years. I don't think it's just one ritual. I think the whole year is a ritual playing out with these big events on the world stage. And whenever these big events happen on the world stage, they're not coincidental, especially when it affects the world governments or whatever, like a lockdown or a war or something like this. These are not by mistake. This is shifting the culture into a direction, but God is in control of everything. And also there's energetics to these different rituals when you put like energy on it, emotional energy on it. just kind of going back to the Celsius and how it makes people feel, not just the drink of needing to be stimulated, which I am definitely like I
was using it for the podcast. Like I was like, it's going to help me focus. And it did, because sometimes you just get a little bit sleepy and then all of a sudden you're like, I got to be on because I have a show coming on. So I'm drinking it and I'm not under the illusion that it's good for me, but I wasn't aware of like to what degree it was bad for me. It felt really crazy. It was, I was just so on edge and constantly feeling the compulsion to like make something, do something, and like really impulsive shit. Very strange.
I'm with you. I love the uppers. I like the nicotine and the caffeine. I like feeling awake. I don't want to be all sleepy because I'm already sleepy how I am. But the substances, whatever they are, affect a certain emotional frequency in the body. And I know it sounds new agey and whack, but like the liver is connected to resentment and anger and a resentment is like just replaying that situation. I'm angry about this thing. And you can see a lot of angry people on the internet, for example. They'll have an alcohol problem or in personal life. Usually they don't show that in public life, but the alcohol is helping them deal with this because that goes straight to the liver. Someone like me, I'm the sad little crybaby all the time. That's why I like to smoke, because the lungs are connected to sadness. So I'm always smoking. So there is something deeper happening on the world level when it comes to food products, these rituals in space. I know I'm getting kind of off topic, but just
I don't think it's off topic at all, because this like you touched on it a moment there ago, the connectivity between like, the submersible all the way to sort of like the UAP egg retrieval situation, and then the Super Bowl and Caesar's Superdome, and now all of a sudden this Katy Perry thing. It's very clear that it's a big continuation of a ritual, and we don't really understand the ways that it affects us.
It kind of makes me wonder about the current news of them taking away the petroleum-based food dyes, the ones that are like pretty much just like waste. And I'm like, all right, so those were waste for sure. They're disrupting your endocrine system and they're doing a couple of other things to you. Why remove it now? Is like for our benefit, or is it like we can remove this now in order to invoke XYZ behavior that we're going to need for this upcoming ritual? Like, is that, what do you think?
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about that. That's exactly what's going on, bro. They better not take my
Red 40
donuts. Yeah. I thought this was America. What is going on here? That's a great point, because me being in sobriety, I became addicted to food more so, and even getting older, I got this just love for food now. And it is a drug with all the different chemicals that are in the food. Like I need a burger right now. What's going on? Because there is chemicals in the drug that we're addicted to. Removing those chemicals now, people are going to be freaking out. I don't even thought about that, bro.
I wonder what's going to happen. I wonder if we're going to see. I wonder how quickly this is going to be rolled out, because I know it's effective immediately. That they're supposed to stop the processing of, remove that from the process. But I wonder how quick until we reach a new baseline, and this is kind of a new normality.
2 years. So it's going to take until 2026 for them to eliminate all of this from, like, it's going to be illegal to sell at a certain point in 2026, because right now there's so much of it produced that sits in a factory and then it's got to go out. They're not just going to throw this stuff out. So it'll go on. Then when it's eliminated, we'll be using like a beet, it's like beet extract to create the red dye rather than red 40. And I think that people are going to react strange. Like, in the end, maybe people will have a clearer mind. Maybe it's all for like some sort of ascension. But in the interim, when you're detoxing from this stuff, they're going to be whacked out. And also, like, if they don't understand that, like I've been on a drug or I've been on a chemical and now it's taken away, and people aren't even aware of this stuff. So
you're gonna have to wean off of it. You're gonna have to. Somebody's gonna have like a red dye 40 stash, so that we don't go straight into like serious withdrawal. Yeah, you got to just take a lick, not the whole thing, just a little bit, just to wean you off.
Oh man, yeah, that's definitely on point. I didn't even put that together, but I'm gonna make a video on that and add that into the research for sure. And so these rituals, they take place not just in 1 year long span, but because that's what I was thinking, but it's even longer. I think that it could be a whole century long ritual going on. That'd be a good title right there, century long rituals.
That's kind of dope, yeah.
The Super Bowl is connected to the egg rituals because it is a fertility rite, just like this space ritual was a fertility rite. And we can go back to Jack Parson and all Aleister Crowley and the modern rocket program and whatnot to see that this did happen in the desert where they were doing these different types of fertility rites. But what I saw during the lockdowns, because this has always been connected to Ishtar, which is the fertility goddess. And you even see the Ishtar logo on this space mission. And there's a 33 on the symbol and a Baphomet. And even the goat imagery of the Baphomet, the goat
even
imagery.
The flower, I think, is associated. Like the daisy is a symbol that Ishtar is often.
He loves me, he loves me not. It's totally it's a fertility thing for sure. And Katy Perry performed at the Super Bowl as Ishtar riding the lion. Like that's what the Ishtar logo looks like. It looks like she's riding the lion. I don't know if she's riding the lion, but when the lockdowns happened, we weren't allowed to hug each other, and we had to stay 6 feet, away. And so there was no fertility going on. So they had The Weeknd come out with all men. So there was no fertility. Everyone dropped on the stage and it looked like a cemetery behind them. There was no fertility. Then the world opened back up, and then we got Rihanna pregnant at the Super Bowl, revealing she was pregnant at the Super Bowl. And she was the yolk, so it looked like an egg. She looked like the egg yolk, and then she reveals that. And then even the Kendrick Lamar ritual, going into the fertility stuff, now it gets super crazy into a transhuman symbolism, which has been a long plan going back to Julian Huxley and whatnot, where they were on the upside down triangle where it was Kendrick and some girl. So right there, they're in the womb, they're in the matrix, and they're getting intimate in a sense. And then it wasn't just white and red, there was blue. And people are like, that's an American flag. It was the white. It could be like the white blood cells, the red blood cells, and putting in a blue symbolically of this new Homo sapien that Harari and all the different transhumanists have said that 2045, we're going to have this new species on Earth. And that's what it's all about.
I've gotten to this point where I'm looking at it like you were talking about Blavatsky, and Blavatsky and Alice Bailey both said that 2025 was going to be the beginning of a new age. It's supposed to be the age of Aquarius, but they've also used the expression golden age. And I'm now looking at the Super Bowls because Donald Trump talks about there being a golden age. And there was the first emperor of Rome, I think, talked about or created what was considered a golden age historically. And so Donald Trump was supposed to be the first sitting president to ever attend a Super Bowl. And of course, the Super Bowl, the Caesar Superdome, from the top down looks like a gigantic egg. And so when that was happening, I'm following all this and I'm like, oh my God, like he is like the first emperor of Rome. He's ushering in the golden age. He's inside the egg, and the egg has been this thing the whole time. And then when it happens, right, because I started to get a little overly speculative because it was sensational. I was like, who knows? Maybe we'll see some sort of like an assassination attempt or something like that, because it seems to be none of the data pointed to that, but it was a significant enough moment that I thought maybe that then.
You know what's funny, David? So
what's that?
There's a couple of things here. I want to stop you with the golden age stuff because like we mentioned it a lot on the show, but it came to my attention that when we're talking about the golden age, the Nephilim existed specifically in the golden age in multiple myths, whether it's like the Greek myth or even the antediluvian myth or reality that we believe in.
Atlantis would have been considered a golden age.
Right. So the Nephilim existed in some form or fashion. And, if you do believe the New Testament, the book of Revelation, where they say it'll be in the end times as in the days of Noah, we're talking about the return of the Nephilim. And we have all this rhetoric around the golden age. But something to back up to what Donut said as well, you're talking about this in 2045, this new species of human, and it's just sticking in my head because when we were talking to Nathaniel Gillis, the episode that David doesn't even remember because he was just knocked out on Celsius. He like continued to harp on this idea of a new species, not a new species, but like another species, a type of human, and he's talking about this it's like a technocratic necromancy, or a necromancer, and this new human would be the result of like reviving from the dead. It's like the idea of the homunculus, wherever Juan is, shout out Juan Ayala. So is that, I mean, we could be going towards that. Is that what we're talking about with transhumanism, like a homunculus kind of thing? Or do you think it's going more towards, I don't know.
Yeah, the whole transhumanism thing is, I've been researching it for a while, but diving more deeply into it. I haven't been connecting it with prophecy. That's the correct way to put it. I hope I said that right. Just the word transhuman was coined by Julian Huxley. He was the creator of the British Eugenics Society and the Wildlife Fund, UNESCO, where the aliens are coming out of, the UNESCO heritage sites. So right now, when I look at transhumanism, aliens, and the climate, because that's what this whole, that's going to be that's really the big push. Even with the late Pope and whatnot, it's always been the push for this climate, because the end goal is world communism, according to all the conspiracy research that I've looked into. That's the end goal. And to activate that, they have a bunch of different plans. One can be green men from Mars, or the climate's bad, or so the whole transhuman thing, maybe it's to upgrade Elon Musk or the tech elite, where there's this other philosophical thing that I find fascinating with the dark enlightenment, which is a big philosophy behind the dark maga, which is this technocratic system and their philosophy and their beliefs, and accelerating society into a direction. It's very interesting, and I'm not at the level of bashing it yet, because I a lot of wicked smart people I know like it, and a lot of wicked smart people are like, yo, this is absolutely evil. But it all, at the end of the day, is for cybernetics and world control, how to control and manage the populace. That's always the agenda of the empires.
Are you talking about with this like the dark MAGA kind of agenda? Does that somehow like dovetail into the woke right, this like the Jordan Peterson thing, this argument? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, so yeah, we could get into that, because this is also very important to understand the control system of, now it's popularized the woke right, the woke left, because it's very simple. It's a simple way to put it. What it is ideologies of communists, ideologies of socialists. And this broke my brain. This is how I broke out of a lot of the matrix, especially in this truth kind of environment. Is you got the ideologies of the left and right, but their ideologies are the same, whether that's Marxists or fascists. They all want the same damn agenda at the end, and they all act and behave the same. It's the two birds, it's like the two wings. But once you study the ideology, which I always say the ideology of the left, which is socialist, communist, that is how I'm able to break through the system of control, because they call it the woke mind virus takes over like someone's thought process. But that conversation, I'm happy it's out there, but having Jordan Peterson come in and manage it,
strange, yeah.
This goes into MK Ultra for sure, because he is coming from Harvard. So Jordan Peterson's wearing and I believe I'm the first one to break this, hopefully. So we'll see if it goes viral or whatever. But he wears the duality suits of
splitting of the hemispheres.
The splitting of the hemispheres, which is MK Ultra symbolism right there. And he comes from Harvard, where Timothy Leary comes from, and also a lot of strange events with, I'm not even going to say a lot of the names, but big events that happen on the world stage come out of Harvard. So Timothy Leary was all about chaos. And Jordan Peterson, he worked in the same department as Timothy Leary, who changed the culture into chaos, right? Free sex, drugs, rock and roll. Peterson's here to do the same thing and clean your damn room and
order.
That's his books. Chaos out of order out of. So
12 rules to avoid chaos. What's the second book? It literally says
life.
Well, the first one's 12 rules for life, and then it's like 12 additional rules for avoiding the chaos or something crazy like that. Beyond order.
So it's all kind of there, but I think that James Lindsay put in the woke left, woke right. I'm really happy that's out there, because the deep researchers that I follow and listen to, they've been breaking this down, and they never use that term, but they've been breaking down the ideologies, and that's been a big thing for me, breaking through a lot of what's happening now on the world stage.
It's kind of fascinating because he almost would I mean, he discredits it, right? Because the character that is Jordan Peterson has fallen so tremendously in the public eye that now if he correctly identifies something as the woke right, well, it falls on deaf ears because he's a psychopath.
He also has, they also have this like one major sacred cow that they cannot avoid. And that is, I'll just say it out. It seems like it's to criticize the state or the government of Israel. This is not, but that's also easily conflated with they're anti-Semitic. I was like, well, you work for the Daily Wire, who is clearly funded by having meetings with the president of a foreign country. But that's an aside. So what I'm noticing is, because I'm trying to parse through this as well, because I'm hearing their arguments, and James Lindsay is such a like he argues, and the people that debate, that use these debate tactics, like a Douglas Murray or a James Lindsay, or even like even a Dave Smith, these are debate tactics. We spoke with Vin Armani yesterday about like winning the debate. We're not even having a conversation. We're not even getting to the bottom of it. You're using tactics, and now whatever the argument was, we can't see it. Although you're right, like he is right about the woke right, and they've been warning about it for a long. As a matter of fact, NDS has been warning you about it for a long time. We've been telling you there's going to be a swing to the right, and it's going to be extreme. The pendulum is going to break through the wall on the other side.
It'll be as despicable or more as the grotesque oversteps.
So here's the problem, though. The problem is that he'll go on, Peterson will go on Rogan and say, well, the problem here is that they're type 2 psychopaths and that they have a genealogy. And it's like, yeah, no, they're not. I mean, some of these people are crazy. Sure. Some of the people, everybody's crazy, in my opinion. That's a non-starter. And that's just an easy way to throw out the baby with the bathwater. The commonality here in the middle is, well, what created the woke left? Let's go back and take a look at that. And when you really think about it, it's like, well, this is the George W. Bush era. This is the neoconservative movement that made America look like horrible people. And then out of that, you get college students that come out radicalized against the empire. Yeah. And now let's look at what's creating the woke right, or if I'm going to use their terms. It's the same group of people. It's literally the same group of people, but now they have targeted Israel. And correctly or not, that's for you to decide. But they have decided this is a clear enemy. And you know what? To call it an enemy, you decide. But whatever they're doing is not good. It doesn't have our intentions up front. So it seems like the same enemy has created these two movements. And now we're like, look at this. Look at these guys. They're the problem. It's like, I don't think they're the problem. They're the reaction. They're reacting to you. Both are reacting to you. And the left has been, destroyed pretty much. They've defamed themselves and they look retarded. And their arguments that should have been dealt with, which were legitimate, I don't even want to hear anymore. I don't want to hear a progressive talk about the climate. And it's like I'm going to go dump oil into the ocean now because I can't stand you that much. and the right is going to do the same thing. So there'll be no discussion about this common sense stuff in the middle. That's what it seems like is going on to me. And Peterson is playing his part wonderfully.
You said it right there with the discussion. So that's why I don't debate. I've hosted like one debate and I thought it was really good.
I watched that. It was amazing, actually. And I could tell I was watching it and I'm like, this is so fun that Donut is hosting a debate. It was actually fantastic. But
I'm a huge fan of Charles Moskowitz. He broke down this whole thing of the ideologies. Charles is like the granddaddy of it. His work on it, I really admire him, and he set that whole thing up because he thought I would be a good. So it was fun, but
I thought it was good because you were very fair. You were impartial. You were just moderating the debate.
It's a hard thing to do. I mean, he called you guys demons, and I was like, oh shit, dude.
so crazy. Yeah, it was still one of the funniest moments on NDS when he said that.
Do you see like the whole the dichotomy of like where he's coming? Because I don't think Dustin's argument is not completely incorrect, but the way you're coming at it, it's like no one's gonna listen. No one's gonna hear the nuance.
It's a crazy
of like,
thing to say that demons are dead. That's a wild. I don't. I kind of like. I mean, look, he's really good with his stuff. I don't think that one though.
You'll win the debate.
So the guy at the deli, when the guy at the deli dies, he turns into a demon.
You win the debate the same way Dave Smith calling Vin Armani a hooker.
Yeah,
it's like you win the debate right there and you shut it down. But there's never any discussion about what the actual matter was.
Yeah,
and here we are.
That's it, the discussion. So I don't like to do the debates, but I do like the conversation. And a lot of stuff gets left out of the conversation. So what I see happening is like, Ian Carroll hinted that I was a COINTEL agent or whatever because
did he really?
Yeah. This is before he got famous, because I talked crap to one of his like friends, and so he responded back, and I was like, "That's so freaking weird," because like I never cared about the guy, and I was like, "That's freaking weird." But then we get all these people that are in the conversation. Like I'm not invited, and most people aren't invited to get retweeted by Elon Musk or go on Fox News or whatever, Oh, well, you could get lucky, you know what I'm saying? You could get lucky,
if you set the right
I'll say most, like, because the whole operation is that you are the media, we are the media, but that's not true because we're not in the conversation. And so there's
Tim Pool is now. Tim Pool's in the conversation.
Tim Pool, he's got the Knight Templar logo right behind him.
And now you see what I mean? It's like, again, Tim Pool meets with Benjamin Netanyahu under Chatham House rules. The next week he's a White House correspondent.
Incredible.
You do the
He's
math.
literally going to. I'm telling you this. I'm calling this right now because of the things we've said to Tim Pool on the internet. He is going to weaponize the administration against us, and he is going to carpet bomb our homes. And I know this is coming. I know this is coming. Look, before we go any further, though, Donut, I do have to wrap this up for the people who aren't on Patreon. We're at the 38-minute mark, guys.
Oof.
And if you want to continue enjoying this episode and hanging out in the live chat and enjoying an ad-free experience, then go on over to patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad. Sign up for free for a 7-day free trial. And also be there when the tickets for Bohemian Grove drop, because they are dropping very soon, guys. Otherwise, we are out of here.
Wouldn't it be fun to just never drop them? Just keep saying
oh my God, just get people all freaked out about a thing and just never do it. Yeah. That gives me anxiety just thinking about it. I think it
join
might
the Patreon and find out what we do.
All right,
sorry,
go on.
Please continue.
So like this is something that gets left out of the conversation that these top influencers that they don't bring up the Knights of Malta, which is one of the biggest like red flags. They'll blame everything on the Jewish people, not even the institution. They go straight for like me or people, even Kanye. And they also leave out stuff like who activated Israel, who activated the Muslim Brotherhood. It wasn't that activated either. That was the British Empire that launched it. So a lot of the conspiracy, and I understand it totally, because it's easier for me to be like the Rothschilds rather than look up all these different hard pronounce. I don't want to do it. Like, how am I going to pronounce all these like Italian names and stuff?
Let me
like
ask you something, Donut. When did you first like start becoming a researcher?
Well, I think it was Jordan Maxwell, like the Zeitgeist movie, because he's talking about the Saturn symbols. And then I would just watch TV and Super Bowl, and I'm like, damn, that Saturn symbol.
There it is again.
Everywhere. But I think that movie was deliberate, just like Europa movie. I think
dude. I think the same thing about Europa. So that brings me to my next question then. Were you wrong a shit ton when you finally realized like the official narrative wasn't what it is and you started having to look for extracurricular sources?
Bro, big time.
Because I was, and these, I think all that's happening is like we had a mass kind of awakening. I hate it. It's a very gay terminology, but we did after COVID. And, these people are just making the same mistake that I made, which is when I realized it wasn't what they told me it was, I fell for a bunch of shit on the way there. I'm still falling for shit, but these people, they if let's say one of the big things I fell for, honestly, this is going to sound so stupid. I don't know if I've ever said this before, but I was like heavily invested in the idea of Tupac returning. And I mean, like heavily invested, like he was going to return on some level and do some shit and fix some things. I don't know what he was going to fix, but I was like sold, baby. And, I've fallen for a lot of stupid shit on the way to here where I'm still stupid. And so, I see people doing that where they go, oh, it's not real. What you told me isn't real. And then somebody goes, hey, it's the, and you go, fuck it, it's the, I'm sorry, everything is the, and the problem is in everything, there's a little bit of Jews.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So there's always something for you to grab onto and say, see, I was right.
There's also this thing which, because obviously I'm seeing past this as well. You had asked me, Donut, at one time, you're like, well, what about the Jesuit order or something like that? What about the Knights of Malta? And I was like, yeah, no, all that stuff. It's just like the current thing is like, we're dealing with people that are only at this surface level of the psyop. And it's hard to get past where we're like, the Dave Smith, Douglas Murray debate was sort of at its crux, something like they're children in Gaza. And I don't think we should do that. There's probably a better way that we can go about this. And it's like, it doesn't matter. Like some people have tweeted, like, I don't care how many kids they got to kill. And I'm just now we're stuck. You see? Mm-hmm. And it doesn't help. It's like being done on purpose by these influencers. I'm like, it does not help the Jewish people, who I understand like where their interests lie, but like we've got to kind of talk about this. And
to Donut's point, I could tell you a lot, a decent amount. I could give you the illusion that I know a lot about like what happened in Weimar and all this shit, right? But if you said like, yeah, but the Jesuits and the Knights of Malta, I go, yeah, and then if you said, tell me about the Knights of Malta, I'd be like,
yeah,
I don't know. You know what I mean? So it's like I know of those things peripherally, but the access to knowledge regarding the isn't even access. It's actually like pushed, it's funneled towards you. There's an algorithm that's funneling all this information to you and it's landing on your desk. Whereas if you want to find out about the Jesuits, if you want to find out about the Knights of Malta, you have to go out of your way to do it because it's not what this machine is feeding you currently.
Right. Yeah, no, it's wild, and I fall for a lot of the traps. And this is the thing: is that we got a long list of researchers who've gone down a lot of these rabbit holes and warned us. A lot of these are traps. But the thing is they're not in the conversation. They're gonna they grab like the sensationalist article people to push people into a direction. So the two things is disinformation and disinformation. And I learned this through Rick Spence, who taught at Idaho University.
Donut, for whatever reason, your signal just ate dick for the past like 30 seconds.
I thought it was me.
You think it's you, Top?
No, I think it's him. If you're seeing the same thing, yeah, I was hoping it was just me.
Yeah. Do you think you could try to refresh your browser, see if there's any luck?
Yeah, it's here right now.
Kind of. It's real broken up.
Okay, I'll exit and come back in.
All right, thanks.
Okay.
You know what? He's got a good point though, where he's talking about how the people who do talk about those things often are not part of the conversation. So there is a grooming of the conversation by the Twitter algorithm. And I think even people like you and me are allowed to engage in that conversation, because on Twitter, we just go like, it's the, but Twitter doesn't know that on our show, we're like, now that we got you here, let's sit down and talk about this a little bit more. Okay, there we go. You already look better. So Donut, what I was saying was, I think you're right that there's a conversation that's being groomed, and the people that are taking part in it are not the people that are talking about the Jesuits or the Knights of Malta. It is specifically the people that are talking about the Top and I are actually allowed to engage in that Twitter conversation, because we liberally dunk on the, because it's a lot of fun. And when you come to the show, we go, hey, now that you're here, here's where nuance. We don't offer nuance on Twitter, because it's simply it's not conducive to what's happening on Twitter. People aren't.
We
there
have to open
to
the door. I mean, see, so me talking like that on Twitter gets me the door open to go and talk to Stu Peters, who he invited me on to talk for 5 minutes. Like, he does like these quick hit segments, and most of the time I'm like busy, but I was like, I'll come on. I ended up talking to him for an hour, and it turned, he was like, well, right? And I was like, sometimes, like, about this, yes. But then he went to like a position of, so obviously good. And I said, no, obviously bad because XYZ. And he said, oh, that's all hearsay. And I was like, actually, no, here's the proof of it. And the interview ended like right after. So, but it got me to a position where I'm like, okay, I hear what you're saying here, and I understand the frustration. It's pretty obvious in your face. The solution is not, 1944. What happened there? That's not.
Well, it's
that's not
almost
the solution. And also, this guy that you're talking about, not good. And I'll tell you exactly why. But we can't even get to that point. So I don't
That's
know
why
what
it
to do.
seems like the only way to engage with that conversation on Twitter is you either toe that line or you shit post that line.
Mm.
And then the algorithm can't differentiate. So it's like, good, another Jew post. Go ahead to the front of the line, sir. Please go ahead. And then it allows us to, well, it allows me to do all kinds of things when you put me to the front of the line. But yeah, I would say that if you're not talking about it wouldn't surprise me if the algorithm is not promoting you.
Mm. Mm-hmm. And it's weird because from my research, and I guess this will be kind of good to just throw on a different perspective out there, is that these pogroms and whatnot, and blaming the Jewish people, because it's not the institutions they're going after. It's like there's corruption in all the different religious institutions.
Mhm.
It's going after people, like the guy at the deli or whatever, or this guy on the plane flight. Look at that guy, he's doing something to the plane. That this is actually a systematic system for the elite to use, because when something happens, like the entire planet getting locked down, that everybody, every nation, every country agreed with and did a Masonic handshake and said, yeah, let's lock everyone down. Everybody was okay with it. It wasn't just one or two countries controlling that. That was every country is saying okay to that. Then the world opens back up. Then we get, J6, we get World War Ukraine, World War Middle East, and our whole everything just tilted. Now it's like the Jays the last 2 years, and it's been promoted by the mainstream.
Yeah.
It's promoted by Kanye West.
They're talking about it on Joe Rogan's show. Theo Vaughn, who somebody tried to press me on this, they said wasn't the case, and then I looked it up, and it still seems to be the case that Theo's last name is Von somethingkin. I forget what it is, but it means like the Jew Slayer. It's something really crazy. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he's on Joe Rogan's talking about, all the that are in, I don't know, Hollywood or something like that. And I was like, that's fucking crazy, because this guy's last name means the Jew killer. And then he's on his show later on, like his own show this past weekend, and he's got like a whole, I don't know if it was a board or if it was just, something on the computer, but it was like showing you the corporate structure of some nefarious industry. And he's like, look, they're all man. And I'm just like, why does a man named the Jew Slayer, who is also the most unassuming character ever, all of a sudden now he's the delivery vehicle for this message? And that's fascinating to me. I'm not saying Theo Vaughn is wrapped up in this. Sometimes I think God is just very funny. He
just had Ben Affleck on, CIA Ben Affleck.
Okay, yeah, that's
people,
probably
these social media influencers are social engineering the populace into the direction they want it to go into.
Yeah.
And the Jewish people are such a small minority. There's more Native Americans, for example. Like, do you ever see Native Americans walking around? And I'm in Arizona. And there's not a lot of them, but there's more of them than the Jewish population. And the ones that get put in the front is even smaller. So it's like 0.1%, and they get all put up in the front. And a lot of them aren't even Jewish that are put up in the front, that I've been learning.
Isn't it fun to note that all of the people that are calling out are like based and cool, and all of the people who are defending the are like fundamentally broken, flawed, and corrupted people? Like, that's what I'm talking about. So you have Jordan Peterson. He's like talking about the woke right, and you know, I think he's correct. I think that is emerging, but he is all fucked up in the game, right? So his credibility doesn't exist. And a lot of the people take Mr. Patriot or whatever his name is, for example. It's like he is one of the loudest voices on X defending, you know, the Jewish people, but then he's falling apart at the seams, and you're finding out he's a huge piece of shit. His court case just got leaked and all these crazy things, and you find out he's a grifter and just a bad guy. So where are the based, healthy people who are successful, who haven't had a massive falling out with the culture? Where are those people that are standing up and going, hold on a second, pump the brakes here. This is not what we think it is. That doesn't seem to exist.
Here. We were saying it, but we're not going to be able to say it on that stage because it makes sense. You know,
right.
You're not going to be able to be like, yeah, I get what you're saying, but let's have a discussion. It's not going to be allowed. This is the whole point of this thing. The whole point is to have this weird extreme where you can create a caricature of this and then continue with whatever narrative they have planned.
And I don't think that it's all non-organic either. I think there are a couple of nefarious actors that are pushing this in this direction, but then I think it kind of organically develops from that. So the inception of it is not organic, but then what happens afterwards is like, I remember there was a time where you and Jake Shields butted heads a little bit, and it's really cool that you guys reconciled. But like, I don't think Jake Shields is a nefarious actor with a what would you call it? A mission to, like, you know, out the or anything like that. I think he just sees what has now snowballed into an organic noticing, let's say, and you know, it's become unignorable by this point. So now even if it's not steered, it's like cat's out of the bag, or the snowball's rolling down the hill.
I saw that happen. A couple of years ago. It was Shane Cashman and this lady Eliza Blue. She's like she was like on hip hop. She was a hip hop dancer, and then she turned into like a child advocate. People are probably familiar with her. She was also kind of like in Elon's circle, one of the people that he would retweet and communicate with before he took over X. And something had happened. She had been called a liar. There was a weird falling out. I don't even remember the details of this, but there was this weird gang stalking thing that happened to her. And there were a lot of bots that were accusing her of something. And then the bots attracted regular people that I interacted with previously that I kind of knew. Some of them I've seen even in real life. And now they're on this thing and they're getting this feedback. It was like, if I call her a whore, I get like 7,000 likes.
Mm-hmm. And
they were just like, boom, boom, boom. And I mean, hundreds of thousands a day, to the point where like it was driving her insane. She didn't know how to deal with it. And she kind of deserved it. She lied. She got caught lying. So I'm not saying she was correct, but the reaction was bizarre. Then all of a sudden, like turning off a water faucet, gone. Everything, all the bots stopped, but the normal organic people continued. And I even remember them saying something like, I don't know what happened to my interactions. Like, I was doing like crazy, and this is before even people getting paid. So they were just operating on pure dopamine. And they're like, my interactions were crazy, and now I can't get 2 likes, like just like before. And I'm like, wonder what happened. I wonder what that was.
It's never organic. It was never.
It was like
genuine.
Like a try-on op, like to see if this will work on this small influencer. And now the funny thing is, like, she is so buried from the negative interactions that she's had. She's got 250,000 followers. She can't get more than 50 likes on a post.
You know what? All of this shit is later. It's all like order out of chaos shit. Like all of it operates off of that. And but the thing that they don't tell you is they sow the chaos first, and then they wait for an opportunity to create order out of it. And that's what I've become convinced that the Super Bowls are now. It's just like a big ceremony where the stadium represents the egg, and what's inside the egg. it's order, right? All the things, you know, if you look at the Memphis Mizraim symbol, it's the inside the egg is Jacob's ladder. It's a symbol for Rosicrucianism. It's basically all the tools you need to create order out of the chaos that you also created. So I think that even what we're seeing now is like, especially on Twitter, Twitter is like the embodiment of that chaos. It's just what order do they want to create out of it?
And it's so addicting. In my hand, I'll be on that. I'm like, oh, it's like I got this like weird relationship with Twitter that I go on it and it activates my survival mechanism. Like, oh my God, everybody wants me dead. They're gonna come get me now. Oh my God. But like it activates something like, oh, look how special I am. Like that I like my people are controlling everything or whatever. There was a funny joke, like a Jewish joke where they were like, yo, I read all the white supremacist like newspapers. They're like, why? Because if I read the Jewish newspapers, it doesn't say anything good, but I read the white supremacists, like they're controlling the world, they're controlling the banks. I thought that was pretty funny. But also taking a further back scope of the big picture, the world was locked down and they had ChatGPT and the AI and all that ready. And what I think was going on, stepping back from my ego, from my survival mechanisms and everything, and just looking at the technology and where the world's heading, where we are now, as the technology we have now is not the technology being used. So during the lockdowns, none of us had AI or freedom of speech or nothing like that. Now Google is, you can talk on YouTube, you could talk on Twitter, you could talk on Facebook, you could say all the anti-Semitic stuff you want, pretty much anything. I've been banned off all these places for talking about actual like the lockdowns, right? You know, I'm removed from there, but now it's all open up. So when the world was locked down, that was an algorithm they were running that the whole world agreed on. Let's run these algorithms. Let's open it up and let's do this war. Okay, let's study this war. Okay, this is how people reacted. We didn't get enough data for February 2022. Let's do the biggest battle, the holy battle, which goes into all the three Abrahamic religions, right? It goes into the imprinting of Muslims, Christians. There is an imprinting and around this. It's a religious holy war, you know, happening. And while it's happening and everybody's like freaked out and triggered, let's open free speech. So now they're collecting all the data they need for the AI. And I think that's what's happening now. Like a war should not last as long as it's lasting, over almost 2 years, over 500 and something days. It's because they're running the algorithm on it for who knows why, who knows what's going on. But I think that's what's happening. And when you look into this dark enlightenment, dark MAGA, and the technocrats, there are articles on it, which I'm not an expert on, but there are articles on it on hyper accelerationism, where they want to accelerate the collapse. They want to push it. And that's exactly kind of what's going on. And I could be totally misunderstanding the philosophy because I'm only reading the headline. But that's what it seems like, is the culture is shifting so fast. You got Andrew Tate, right? The most Google man on the world for the little kids. And all the little kids are looking up to him. And that's like all algorithm, Google, and all this. It seems to me that everybody's duped, you know? Everybody's duped. Also,
I was going to say, I feel like I'm in the same box because, you know, we have a hand in it. I engage with those ideas constantly on X to whatever degree. And because I guess I have a tendency to not take things seriously enough, I'll lean into the bit, you know, and what I recognize is that does contribute and drive this narrative forward. And I kind of agree with you. It feels like accelerationism is definitely the name of the game. Like I used to say that whatever was happening on Twitter was going to be happening at the dinner table, just give it enough time. And I was talking to my buddy recently, and he works in a very similar field that I used to, which is welding and fabrication. And I've been in a bunch of shops, right? And, you know, we talk a lot of shit. but we never did what he said they're doing now, which is they just get together at lunchtime and they just talk about the. And I'm like, whoa!
Tell them about the
That's
bank teller.
crazy.
Bro, it's
Oh,
like
the bank teller. Check this out, Donut. So we went to do big bank business. We had to go open up an account for Nephilim Death Squad, and I'm there. Of course, that question comes up from the teller. What is Nephilim Death Squad? And of course, I'm happy to oblige her and answer the question. And one thing leads to another. I open up immediately, and I'm just inundating this old woman with the craziest shit in the world. And she let slip to me that she has a 25-year-old son, because I said they're engineering a Jew noticing conversation. And she goes, my 25-year-old son out of nowhere will not stop sending me videos about how they're doing everything. And it was awesome. And I'm like, boom, there it is. Like, it has left the Twitterverse, and it is now at the dinner table, or it's at the bank tellers, or it's on your lunch break at work.
But what I'm confused about is me when I was growing up in the 90s, whatever, and then being an adult in like school as a teenager, all this stuff that people are talking about, we were all talking about. Like we were all saying that every word you could say.
Yeah.
We were all saying that to each other and talking about these topics. And it was no big deal. Like, so it's just weird. Maybe I had a different circle.
Well, it's not that. I don't mean to say that you weren't talking about it before, but there was definitely a time where it was removed. We weren't allowed to talk about it, right? And especially as we went to like really progressive cultural talking points and left-leaning values.
You weren't talking about it at the dinner table with your mom. Like,
right. But it turns out when you take away the ability to say the or the J word or any of these words, we kind of go until eventually we're allowed to talk about it again, and then it blows the hell up.
Sam Tripoli did the funniest bit on his where he was doing the Bellamy salute, and he's just like, just let it out, it feels good. And
well, that's the air that should be around this. There should be an air of humor around this, because I think that humor is the great diffuser when it comes to these really intense topics. And people think that you have no place joking about these things. But let me tell you something. When you can't talk about them without exploding, then you better have the ability to joke about them, because you got to, lend some brevity to the situation, take the edge off of these topics. I always say things were a lot better kind of like in the early 2000s when Chappelle's show was huge. And everybody was making fun of everybody, and everybody was laughing at each other and laughing at ourselves. You know what I mean? Me and my mom never felt offended when we watched Dave Chappelle do the wife swapping bit where he was a white-faced dude with a blonde wig on, and he's going to, I never felt bad about that. It didn't even dawn on me to feel bad. And that's actually remarkable. It didn't even dawn on me all those years ago that I should be offended at anything that he was doing. And I think we were in a much better place back then.
Yeah, and we were in a place of live and let live, and fear can take over. This is why it's so important to have a spiritual solution, which I think that both of you do really well, bringing on, the Christian perspective of spirituality and having that solution of what to do in these times. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. And fear I had a quote on fear in John 4:18. It says, there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. Mm-hmm. It keeps on going, but that was the sentence. And that's something that, like, that's how I operate. Not every day, because I fuck up all the time. Like every day, I'm just a neurotic anxiety mess, self-pity. Oh, poor me! Look, oh, they're attacking me. Oh, like what? I go down the deep, like, just negativity. But there's a solution to all that, and a lot of it is love and praying for people. Like there's the quote forgive them for they do not know. I don't want to be like, I know what, I'm not a theosophy.
No, but that's kind of the point you come to a lot, where it's just forgive them, Father, because they know not. But it's like, I mean,
Well, forgive us
Fear-
our trespasses as we forgive
Oh.
those who trespass against us.
Mm.
And that is what I love that prayer, because I have done, like everybody else, everybody's fucked up in life, and so have I. And I forgive like people easily. I be forgiven. If I want to be forgiven, I gotta forgive other people, and that's comes out of a place of love. There's like these different energetics to. I don't know. I think that there's a solution, and I don't focus on it enough.
Yeah, it's something that I've been kicking around a lot. I have to ask myself, like, if you look at my Twitter, I am very quick to drag somebody. And I think if you're not me, then it's very jarring. You look at it and you go like, "Oh my God," and you imagine that I am incredibly invested in my hatred of this other individual. But the truth of the matter is,
Steve Wilkos,
I'm coming to kill you. The truth of the matter is, I am not invested at all, and I don't even like really dislike I might be like a little bit annoyed with the person, like, who is this idiot? But the dragging of a person is it's, I don't know, maybe I'm just saying a bunch of shit to cope with my bad behavior, but it's non-personal. I'm not invested. I don't even think about that person beyond, like, for me to hate somebody is like, I couldn't even tell you who I actually hate. There's one lady that I'm pretty close to hating, but I don't even think I hate her. So I don't really hate anybody, but I get how from the outside looking in, it looks totally insane. But you're right. It's like fear in particular. If you look at all these narratives that are unfolding on Twitter, fear is the great connective tissue, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's fear of the what are they doing down there in the tunnels? What are they doing there at the upper echelons of government? Yeah. And then you look at the whole, let's go down the racial thing, right? When it comes to Black people, which I've engaged with heavily, I've created a whole universe. A lot of it is like there's this not highlighting, because I don't think it's unfair, but like there is this. Every time something happens between a Black person and a white person, Twitter, including myself, we grab it and we go, wah! And it becomes this great big thing that ultimately, what are you saying? You're saying, be afraid, be afraid, be afraid. And so if you look at much of the worst narratives that are unfolding on social media or just on the world stage, fear is the driving factor behind it, or at least it's what they want you to feel. It's fear.
True. It's a reactive emotion, and I fall for it all the time. Like, yeah, especially like the videos. You see those videos, and a lot of times I see them, and I'm like, damn, man, like I used to live in that. That could have been me. That was somebody I knew, and like you're fearful of it. You think about your kids, but the Bible says 365 times, New and Old Testament, fear not, for like a plethora of different reasons. A lot of times when angels show up and people are like, what the, and they're like, yo, don't be afraid. But it makes a point to tell you, don't be afraid, move forward bravely. But I also think that doesn't mean to not be cautious of things that we're doing.
Yeah,
Like,
and also
careful
not to not address it either, right? Because that's that we talked to Donnie Darkin, and that was almost the
That was a good show.
take.
I liked it.
It was wild because there wasn't so much to disagree about there. It was just like, his line of argument could be also applied to the idea that let a man walk up and punch you in the mouth and do absolutely nothing about it because God uses all things for his plan, and fear not. And it's like,
I learned so much from that podcast, like to understand a lot of stuff. That was a good show.
it was, but it's this conversation that keeps coming up. It's like, I'm not afraid of I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of any nefarious group. People might look at the desire to look into these things and then make a show about them as being an alarmist and as being afraid of this impending thing. And that's not at all my relationship with this information. My relationship is always one of curiosity and interest. It probably even to a fault. Sometimes I think I love the pursuit of this information too much. But it's never a place of fear. I'm not afraid of these things. It just, they seem to be facts of the realm that we inhabit, and what use is there to be afraid of facts? It just doesn't. It is what it is, and if you can't change it, suffering by way of fear is certainly not going to help the situation at all.
Being in sobriety, when I first got sober, I felt so bad for this guy who was trying to show me like how to live life sober, and like he'd pray, and I'd be like, oh, this poor guy, he's praying, like because I was such a like resentful. I wouldn't say I was an atheist totally, because I would do foxhole prayers of, oh, get me out of this or whatever. I swear, like trying to make a bribe with God, like it's so ridiculous.
I love it. I love that. That's beautiful, man.
Yes. But the thing that happened is that he told me, because I was obsessed like over like weed, alcohol. I was like obsessed, like I could not stop. And he said to pray to have it removed. And I did, and it was removed. And I was like, okay, there's something bigger going on that I'm not aware of. And then just doing little spiritual things throughout the day, because I just kept on screwing people over. And I'm like, why is everybody showing up to my house like all the time, like to jump me? Well, because I'm calling them or I'm stealing from them. And like, I'm like, okay, I'm like my own worst enemy. And so this spiritual journey that I've been on, a lot of it is through Christian values. And I know you brought Judeo-Christian values, which I always thought that the Judeo part was the 10 Commandments. That's what I don't know. So that's kind of, if I'm adding on to something, that's where I thought.
This is like what I'm arguing as well, which is like a bigger discussion. There is so there's a continuation of the law, which if you're a Christian, you believe that Jesus fulfilled. If you're not, the rabbinic have created the Mishnah and the Torah, the Mishnah and the Talmud, and that's like 500 years after Jesus died, and these are just like an expansion. It's an expansion of the Torah. So this is what I'm talking about, and I think when they say Judeo-Christian, most of these people that are practicing abide by this new rabbinic law, which is a response to Christianity or to what Jesus came to do. Therefore, if it's a response, and in the Talmud, it talks about false prophets, and it actually specifically talks about Jesus burning, like boiling and excrement and piss. These things are in opposition with each other, which is fine. I understand if they're in opposition. There are two prophecies that are competing. Just don't tell the religion that I believe in. Don't mix it up and confuse it, like we're on your side. But realistically, what you're saying over here is like, no, we've actually specified the law, expanded on it, and created more in order to say that you guys are completely wrong. Don't attach yourself to this thing that is now, it's pretty, I mean, the West is pretty much based on this. America is based on this, even though the founding fathers were not Christians. They based it on Christian law and the New Testament.
It's
which
a
I think
fascinating thing, though.
It's great. It's what we were just talking about here as well. Like for the idea of forgiveness, the idea comes a lot easier for me because I guess I grew up in the church and I've been a Christian my whole life, and I understand that if you understand the story of Jesus Christ and what he did to forgive the world, if you believe that, then that concept is like deeply driven in your being. So like I understand it fully. I'm not always the best at manifesting it, but I do get it. And there's a lot of other religions there that just kind of like, they don't have that part. They don't have that last part, that selfless forgiveness. And I'm still horrible at it as somebody that should know better. But
don't shit all over yourself.
I mean, it's good to do that, though. You have to take stock. I think the second you stop asking yourself, like, am I doing the right shit? Am I moving in the right way? That's when you totally lose the plot. But it does strike me as interesting that it's called Judeo-Christian values or whatever the case may be. But Judaism it believes that Christianity is incorrect, fundamentally incorrect.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like, so the explanation from the Mishnah and the Talmud is explaining that Christianity is fundamentally incorrect. Fine. Just don't say Judeo-Christian values afterward and act like you're attached to us because you're saying that we're wrong.
It's like putting your arm around somebody and being like, me and this guy, we're together. He's wrong as shit, but we're homies.
not just wrong, but like, hey, if we believe that the Messiah did come and fulfilled the law of Moses, and this is like we're moving forward, and one religion saying we're still waiting, and I understand that that's a fundamental, it's a fundamental break in the point here. But if all of your teachings are saying that we are utterly and completely wrong, we worship a false god, we like we're doing idolatry, which I've had the discussion with like an IDF soldier recently. He was like, okay, fine, that's your opinion. It's not what I think, but then by no means say that these are the same two things. And that is the confusion. And that is like the lie, which it aggravates me, because most of Christianity now, you can go in and they'll fly an American flag right next to an Israeli flag. And I'm like, but I understand what you're saying, but what they're saying about you, they've said, oh, Judeo-Christian values, and you say that on the pulpit. But when you look at what they're actually saying here, they're saying that you're completely wrong. So you come in here every 7 days, you're worshiping, you're doing this and that, but the people that you're connected to they're saying that you're an asshole. And I'm like, I don't like that. For me, I don't like that. Like, if you said I'm an asshole outright, cool. But like, don't do it sneaky. And I don't. Yeah, it doesn't sit right with me, man. I don't know.
Well, that's why I think that where I was coming from when I thought it was the Torah means the law, and
hey, Donut, I hate to do this, man. Could you refresh your thing one more time, because it is kicking your ass?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I'm not that well studied at all, but it to that seems on its face like very surface level thinking, just like they don't agree with Christ being the Messiah. And so then how are these two things the same thing? How can you say them in the same breath? How can they be like conjoined one right after the other, Judeo-Christian?
Yeah, but
and
then,
you know,
all right, what's up, Donut?
There we go. That's exactly what it is. It's the
Donut. Donut's correct though when he's talking about the Torah and these first few books of the Bible. They're like super important. They are pivotal to understanding Christianity. And like, now that I'm back, like reading back on them, I'm like, wow, these are like, not that the New Testament's not important. That is a characterization. It's not a characterization. It's a written history of what happened. But this back here is very important. It's just this thing that comes afterward that I don't like. Like, I don't like it's not the Torah. It's a written book of rules by Pharisee and rabbi that are interpreting the Torah and how they should carry themselves and live after the death of Jesus Christ. Well, it's fine. Listen, that's your religion, but it's two different religions. It's not the same thing. There's no hyphen. It's like Judeo, and then there is Christian. When they conflate the two, it gets very confusing. Judeo in that manner. I mean, I'm talking about this new stuff. I'm not talking about the Torah. This is pivotal, absolutely pivotal to understanding. And even how I pray now, when I talk to God, I think about how they did it back then. Like, how was David talking to God? How was Daniel talking to God? Perhaps I should be thinking about these things also, like using Jesus Christ to talk with him in this way. But there's a reason that they did that. And it's powerful. It's just like, it's that diversion afterward that I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, but it smells like shit to me.
I do love it though. I do love that we're here in 2025, and it's like, if you think that this existence isn't spiritual, if you think there's no God, and it's like it's the exact same contention for 2,000 years plus. It's the same thing. You know, we've come all this way. We have Snapchat. I don't know. It's crazy. We have Snapchat. We have an Oculus Rift. We've got VR on our heads. We're taking the red dye out of shit, but we're still having the exact same fight.
Conversations and all that from
it's crazy
years ago. It was what I was going to get to sort of with Exodus, because so I'm on my spiritual journey, getting sober. Wow, there is a God. I'm learning about the values and the principles that are in the New Testament, the way Jesus lived his life, plus embracing, my heritage of the Old Testament as well. But I've been always in a bunch of different stuff, like the Tao Te Ching and all that, so I'm just learning about spirituality. Where am I gonna fall? And I was listening to Exodus. I went on this Exodus. I got this book on it. It's way too long. I didn't finish it, but I did get something out of it, where Moses when they were escaping from the pharaohs or whatever on Passover. And I even got into the whole astrotheology of stuff like Passover, the Last Supper, that's passing over into spring. So I like looked at everything in my journey to want to be close to God. And the Moses was walking to the Dead Sea where they split the sea open. Not saying that really happened in life, but just the emotions that people were going through to get to the Dead Sea. I don't know if it was the Dead Sea, but where they split the sea, that was pretty much a suicide mission because you're going up against the ocean and all the soldiers will come and slaughter you. So this Exodus, for them to do that, the Israelites, which there was only 2 tribes that were Jewish, I believe, that there had to be a faith in God to even go there. And I love that. I took that sort of in our conversation where there's fear, but there's also got to be action. And that whole faith part of like trusting God, like I'm going to go walk here and leave the results up to God, which was good too. Like I like it all. And I was listening to freaking
fear not, right? Donut. This is the whole thing. Yeah. It's like, it's why we call these people, it's why I call myself a dangerous, or the idea of Dio, return to God, to be retarded, to look at the fear. Yeah, I'm looking at this fear that shit, like it's a dragon and it's telling me, yeah, I'm gonna burn you. Don't walk through here. And I'm like, I'm gonna put my helmet on and I'm gonna do it anyway, as if there's no danger here. And
But
obviously
that's how
within
we're supposed
reason.
to be, right? That's how David was, and that's why he won.
Right, with the slingshot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how we're meant to be. I don't think we're meant to be. Even anecdotally, in my own experience, whenever I choose to do the thing in spite of the fear, it always changes the trajectory of my life for the better. It makes me better. You know what I mean? There's so many things that I could have said no to in life because it's scary. You know, even simple shit. It's like, you know, how many people spend their entire lives in the same town that they grew up in and they end up dying there. And those people, when you spend time with them, they'll say things like, I'd love to get out. I'd love to see the world. I'd love to move one day. I'd love to go here and pursue that and be that thing. But then so many of those people just grow old. And before you know it, they lift their head up and they realize that they're in the same donut fear.
That's a banger.
I like that. That's actually a great chart.
With so much knowledge out there, right? With the information age, Twitter, books, we so much knowledge, but there's such lack of wisdom. And I think what we're talking about now, there's a lot of wisdom in that. It's not like smart, it's wise. And you know, I like that. Yeah, and I like the whole like the whole dangerous thing is I love that. Yeah.
People get upset, you know, but it is a way of I think we did it first and then it started to, and then it made sense to me later on. And I do think like to be a dangerous is to be, you know, the fool in the hero's journey who becomes the hero, because you know, it's like everybody calls you, like Tim Pool told Top that he was too retarded to stop. And it's like, yeah, that's it. That's the spirit of it. The fool who goes on the hero's journey, by many people's accounts, is too retarded to see the danger that lies ahead. And he's cautioned by all these people to stop, but he doesn't listen.
Well,
and
if you're cautioned by people a lot of times to stop, or people will say, don't do this thing. This is very dangerous. Don't associate. This is dangerous. And I go, maybe. But I pray every single day. Like, I'm like, if a door opens, that's fine. But Vin said the correct prayer is close the door. Don't. But I tell him, like, slap me down. Don't let me do this thing if this is not the right way to go. But close the door if this isn't the right way to go. So I'm not gonna listen to Tim Pool or people to tell me that, like, you should be afraid of this. I was like, maybe I should. Maybe you should. But well, you know what, though? I'm not getting that right now.
Do you think that Tim Pool got to where there's an argument to talk about whether or not he's afraid now? I don't know. But do you think that Tim Pool got to where he is?
On an event, he was all squirrely walking around the sides, and Shout out, to my homie Alex Stein. He brought me to the event, and he even went on Temple and gave me a shout out on the meme magic. And then they talk about meme magic. But I'm at this social media event, it feels like, because like Laura Luba's there, Milo Yiannopoulos is there, Tippool's there, Luke Radowski's there. And I'm like, man, I want to start clicking their faces to see if they'll start talking. I was tripping. But this was like a conservative type movement.
Yeah.
And not one person knew who I was. and I'm just like, this is, and I felt very lonely, but I love Alex and I love Paige as well. Like, they're such great people. He even brought my name up on Temple, and that's like so name. But like, it was just these people, I tried to talk to them, and not all the people I had named. I didn't try to talk to all the people I named, but like I tried to talk to a few of like them, and then no one wanted anything to do with me. It was weird.
I feel like people at that kind of an event, because it's like a conservative political event, like they are kind of searching around for who they can connect themselves to, where they're going to get a banger of a Twitter photo, or they're going to get an opportunity in the future to do some political pontificating with, some sort of big pundit.
It's sad. If they knew your YouTube following, they would go draw to you. But like,
oh yeah, they were like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I would do at. Oh, we're losing Donut again.
Yeah, I know, this sucks.
I feel so bad. I don't know why this is happening. Sorry, guys. Donut, I don't know if it's his issues or it's our. I think it's his.
He probably has he might have to restart his browser completely. But so the first time I met Luke Rakowski was at a Pork Fest years ago, and he was doing I forgot what they called it. It's like the 1,000-yard media stare, where he's just looking around for somebody famous to talk to. And I saw him, I was like, oh, hey, Luke. And he's just like, and then he kind of did that to us the second time the second time I met him, but the first time we were on a show. Then the third time we were on his show, he's like, hey, do you want to come to the gun range after? And we were like, I am busy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's unfortunate. I don't really
know that's a lot of what people are doing. And I get it too, right? I mean, of course, I'm going to get excited if we have an opportunity to do, something with a Tripoli or something like that. But for that to be the sole focus, you're just kind of looking around for an opportunity to be seen with somebody. Like, I think I'm really grateful that mechanism is broken within me. I don't really seem to get too wrapped up in people.
He's trying his phone. Let's see if this works.
Maybe the phone works better. Can you hear us, Donut?
Hello. Yes.
All right. We got you. We got you.
We were just saying how at that type of event, it strikes me as much more likely that people are looking for, the who's who and an opportunity.
Connections.
When we go to, doing Bohemian Grove, I look at that as, it's cool to put on a performance, and it's cool to even do that thing. But what's really cool to me is like, oh shit, we could build a community. We can hang out with the homies. We can actually see each other in person. And instead of it being like this, I don't know, this kind of gross, like, who's here? Who can I get with and take a picture and boost my algorithm with?
Yeah. Nobody wanted to talk to me or hang out with me except for Alex. So it was super weird. It was so weird. And they want to like go full Kanye, like you were saying, and give for that photo op.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's exactly how it goes, man. That's
well, I don't blame them. I don't blame them. I've been there.
You should.
It's how politics works,
dude. How many times have we been around like famous people and then forget to take a picture? I'm like,
oh yeah,
fucking didn't.
Yeah, I don't think about that at all.
No one's gonna believe me that I saw
like
these people.
When we were talking to you, we were talking to Dave Smith one time, and like I could have been, like, oh, it's Dave Smith. But instead, I was actually just very frustrated with him. And I was kind of yelling at him on the show because I wanted to know what Dave Smith thought of God. I don't care about, individual. Not that I don't care about individuals. That sounds rude. It's more like I'm not starstruck by people. If you are famous, what I find fascinating is like, oh, how's that dude's brain work?
I look at how big is that guy's head? Usually famous people, their head is fucking
super
huge.
big forehead. That's why I'm hoping I got this going for me.
They have
that's
this effect. It's the Michelangelo effect, you know, the statue of David, where its head is
Yes.
actually larger because it's supposed to be viewed from below. And I feel like famous people all have like a larger head for some reason. I think it has something to do with that. It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, they
Big
also have,
face.
Yeah,
like, super big foreheads. Big foreheads that
maybe it's because they got a big brain could be one of it, or maybe because like it's good on camera, the big head,
it could
you
be.
know, or they're
That might
Nephilim.
contribute to why so many people on camera feel really big. Like Clint and Sam both said to me that I have tall guy energy, which was just their way of being nice about how short I am. And I think it's probably because of one, the shouting. I do quite a bit of shouting, but two, the forehead. I think it gives the illusion that I'm gigantic because my forehead's
I
too
got the Neanderthal forehead
big.
too.
There you go, baby. That's where we keep all
Yeah,
our smiles.
yeah, that's the way we stay wicked smart. And Joe Rogan, he's a little person too, right?
He is, yeah, I hear that. Well, I can't say anything about him. I think he's the exact same height as me because I used Sam Tripoli as a unit of measurement. I took a photo with him. I looked at where I came up to Sam Tripoli, and then I looked up where Joe Rogan comes up to Sam Tripoli. Virtually identical. It's the same exact thing. So I can't. I mean, I can talk shit about him being short, but I just got to make sure I do it to me too.
Yeah, I have a conspiracy theory following the Symbolism with Joe Rogan and the Danny Jones podcast. So
Danny Jones.
Danny Jones, his symbol is the same symbol as Joe Rogan because I'm always looking at symbols where he has the Sampaku crazy eyes, just like Joe Rogan, and he has the two Nazi lightning bolts, just like Joe Rogan has for the
That's
SS. And what I think is going on, and I could be totally wrong, this is just my conspiracy, that Danny Jones is an arm of a Joe Rogan apparatus where he brings on guests, has them perform on the checkerboard floor, and then he decides, okay, this one will be the next guest for the Joe Rogan show.
Really?
That's what my theory is, because a lot of my theories, I've been in this game of social media, doing geopolitics for 10 years before I even had my channel. And both of you probably seen this, that when you are a content creator, you get different data than somebody who's consuming the content. So you could be like, oh, why am I getting a bunch of sales for food? Or why is a bunch of people, like, we can see the trend happening before the masses in a lot of ways. People in the comments asking a question, the same question keeps popping up, you know, so we get different data than the people that will consume the content.
Can I ask you this? Do you think we've been kind of, we say things and then we figure out if they make sense later on. And I've been saying that Rogan is like the new Laurel Canyon. And it
Yes.
seems like not only is he into cultural manufacturing, but he's also into pushing elements of like the MK Ultra program, like obviously the sensory deprivation tanks, that's right up your alley. And then of course the DMT and all the psychedelics, and that plays into all the MK Ultra shit. And then recently with the popularization of the telepathy tapes, which was done almost exclusively by Rogan, launched him into the #1 spot. I'm looking at this and I'm like, why are you're promoting research that falls in line with like a Rupert Sheldrake or like a Puharich, like all the way back at the beginnings of MK Ultra. You're also pushing like the apparatus, you're popularizing the float tanks, like, and then you're manufacturing culture, and you found yourself sort of orbiting this new administration in a huge way. And I'm like, I think we are looking at the new Laurel Canyon.
Yeah, I think we're looking at the new Oprah Winfrey as well, who stayed in her home for 322 days. He's the mainstream, and this is just a fact that he's the most popular podcast, which literally the definition is the most mainstream podcast, and he does shift the culture. And as somebody who's been into conspiracies and all the occult symbols and all that for a while, when you go to the gym and you're in the sauna with the boys,
As one does.
there's a difference between a Japanese sauna, because I was just in Japan, and an American sauna. Japanese, everybody's just straight, all the dudes are just out. And in America, we're all like shy and we're like, nah. We wear our clothes in the sauna. Like I go in the sauna with like my shorts and shoes
I'm
on and
going in
all.
with swim shorts, 100%. If I go into a sauna, I'm doing it in swim shorts. I mean, maybe I'll do it in a towel, maybe, but like swim shorts just seems more functionally, makes more sense.
More
Yes.
modest.
I got off topic. Oh, but when I'm in the sauna, I've heard all throughout, it's always been a conversation of Joe Rogan and then Trump. And now I'm scared to go in the sauna now because I know they're probably gonna kill me if I go in the sauna now with all the Joe Rogan.
The sauna is where Donut goes for his cultural updates to the sauna. And now he knows that if he goes to the sauna, he's gonna hear about because that's where the conversation is gone. Dude, I wouldn't be surprised.
I haven't gotten a haircut. I'm looking hella scrubby because the last time I went to get a haircut, the guy was like, yeah, you know about Europa? You know what's going on right now? And he's like cutting my hair and shaving me. And I'm all like, oh, yeah, what's going on?
Oh, no, Donut. You got to fear not, dude. Fear not, man.
You got to fear
no,
not.
I'm just playing. I told him to subscribe to my channel. I wasn't fear. I was just joking. But I don't like to get. I don't know. I got the mullet going and the hair.
Yeah, you gotta
but
grow it out. You're a long hair guy, in my opinion. You're a long hair guy. Only tall dudes can pull off long hair. Like Ian Carroll. I can't pull off Ian Carroll's hair because I'm not 6'8" and I don't have the jawline. But yeah, you should stick with the long hair. You're a long hair dude.
Thank you. Yeah, I got to grow my hair. I want to grow my payasses out.
but I asked you what
I
you
should
think
just
about.
lean into it. If I just dress like
Honestly,
Modest Yahoo, yeah.
You should do
I'm
that
not going
because
to, though.
that's how I've made myself, and I got this from Top. That's how I've made myself more resilient to any of the. Because as soon as you get out into the public Discord on Twitter, you're gonna take all the arrows, right? And in order to make myself not subjected to those arrows, or not make those arrows not fatal blows, I've just completely leaned into them and I'll do all the shit that you think I am.
Have you noticed
kind of like
certain topics? Have you noticed, since we were talking about bots and like the ratios being weird, how like you get 20 comments but over 100,000 likes, and it just doesn't make sense? I see it all the time on YouTube videos, Twitter posts. Have you noticed that when you post about a certain topic, it could be a person, a group, a story, then like you'll get the backlash. Like for me, if I talk about certain topics connected to Elon Musk, then I'll get all these weird posts of graphics that people make of how I'm like Illuminati or a woman or something like that. But it's only on Elon posts.
No, I get those. I almost exclusively get them from Christians, which is fantastic. It's just Christian people speculating wildly about my role in misleading the flock or something like that, and then creating spreadsheets. I don't know, with spreadsheets, creating graphics about just all kinds of like I'm a gender inverted elite. I have the skull of a woman, and
the triangle. They put the triangle on you.
Yes, I had the triangle put on me. And also I made the mistake of buying a $15 backdrop from Amazon that looked like bricks, which to most people was just like, why does it look like you're doing stand-up? Because it looked like a stand-up wall behind me, and the mic that I had was like not a podcasting mic. But to the Christian community, I was a Freemason, and clearly because $15 Amazon backdrop means that I'm initiated. So I don't get those if I talk to Elon. I just get those just constantly from some insane sect of the Christian community.
It's wild because to break through from the crowd and be able to just say F them and just do what you do, it takes a very strong like a person to do something like that.
It takes somebody who's
that too.
Exactly I've gotten to the point now where I'm like, if you ask me what I am, if your definition of a Christian is somebody who believes in Jesus Christ, then by your definition, yes, I'm a Christian. But I don't even like, I almost don't even want to have that conversation with people, because you suddenly step into a bag of worms. And because I make a particular universe on Twitter, or because I say a particular thing, all of a sudden I'm not Christian. And I'm just like, but I still believe. All right, you know what? I don't even want to talk about it with you guys. I'd rather just lean into comedy. And that's almost the route that I'm by default leaning towards, because I don't want to have to defend myself and my beliefs. I don't want to have to try to convince you that I believe something when you're arguing that I don't believe in it, which is like, whose head do you I live in my head. I know what I believe. So instead of doing that, I'm just going to ridicule you and make fun of you, and then lean heavily on comedy, because it makes my life feel a lot better, instead of just dealing with all of the crazy people and then trying to address their shit and trying to have dialogue with them when it doesn't work. They're not there for dialogue. They're there to burn you at the stake. And so there's no
That's a
conversation.
setup. Yeah.
It's a setup. Yeah. You can't have a conversation with people.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when I started, I had like it was very new agey chakra thing that was gifted to me. Every single thing that I have is like a gift. And I just talk in front of it. Everyone's like, oh, that's a new age. And I was like, whoa, I didn't mean, I thought I was being offensive. So I removed it. I was like, okay, that's offensive. Put something else up there. They got offended by that. And then I'm like, okay, this has nothing to do with anything but the mass mind control of the crowd wanting to dominate. So like I got the donut with the one eye. I didn't even make that. An artist made that. A fan painted this. So all the symbols that like people, they were like inspired and they paint it. And so it's ridiculous. Now,
Top, can you find this? Find the image that what's his name? Josue, is that his name? Made for Dangerous. It's a banger artwork, but we didn't ask him to make it. But it's basically me, Top, and our co-host Clint Russell, and we're like inside the firmament, and I'm peeking through the. It's from that old kind of
the alchemy thing where he's looking
yes,
out.
the alchemy thing, yeah. And I looked at it and I said, that is beautiful. Top, I've already found people posting that about, look, see what he's doing. Look what they're doing. They're peeking through the firmament. They're yes, that's the one. Yeah,
that
and
looks
I love
dope,
it.
dude. That's super good.
So cool.
That's amazing.
It's so cool. And but yeah, I mean, somebody does artwork for you, and that now means you're part of the OTO.
Well, ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to be black. Like I always liked hip hop, the way I talk and all that. I used to get made fun of by all the white kids. So hopefully they're just throwing it out there, just a little hint, Raven.
Oh my God. Oh, please. Your wish is my command. Absolutely. I got to tell people my secret so they can carry on my work, because it's really the work of a maniac. And I've realized now that I should probably stop. Not because I'm worried of offending people, because I cannot answer the question, what am I doing? And I think if I can't answer that question, then I had better stop. But yeah, Donut, you expect it.
Well, also on the dangerous retard topic, I would be praying and meditating about like, I'm happy that the misfit is on my team. He's the dangerous retard on my team to go in the battle.
Yeah, he's the one that's going to step in the front and take all the arrows. And he's definitely taking a lot of arrows right now. But we have to bring it in for a landing. We got stuff that we got to take care of. But one more time, Donut, where can everybody find you? Where can everybody find your work? Because your work is wait, before you even go, I just want to say, I look to see what you're doing, Donut. Like if something is happening and I go, what the hell is going on here?
Strange is happening. And I go to Donut.
I go to Donut, dude. And I go, Donut, help me make sense of this. And every time I go over to what you're doing, right? And especially in this Katy Perry situation, I know we didn't get to talk about it too much. I highly recommend people go and check down your breakdowns, because you capture all the symbolism that's taking place in this event, to the extent where when you're shown these things, like, hey, look at what she's doing, and then here is the sort of esoteric context for it, you'd be very hard pressed to say that that's not what's happening here. You do a great job of laying that out. I want everybody to go and check out that, especially that video, because that's what I saw where I was like, we got to have Donut on. We got to have him make sense of what the hell is going on in the world stage. So I just want to thank you for coming and hanging with us, brother.
I appreciate y'all. I do the same thing. I listen to y'all like every day. So I appreciate being up on here. And you can find me at DOENUT. Donut. Yeah. Oh, and also, like I say, like there is going to be a ritual like every weekend. I'm like, there's a ritual, you know, so a dangerous like me can get something right once in a while, because I always say that a ritual about to go down.
You're not wrong though. There's always something
I'm
bizarre.
not wrong, though.
We said it earlier. It was like after COVID, it was like, okay, go get them, boys. And they just started slamming us with psyop after ritual, after ceremony, after ritual. So, I mean, good news for Donut. There's always something to make because there's always something happening.
True.
Always something on the horizon. Donut, again, thank you. Thanks for spending time with us, man. I'm sorry. I feel like we're at almost 2 hours, but I got to pick up my wife.
Donut, are you going to be at Bohemian Grove?
Yes.
Make the decision now, Donut.
Make the decision now. Guys, we're trying to get Donut to Bohemian Grove. So there's just another reason.
Hey,
for
listen,
you to
if you
drag your
can't
ass out
make
of
it,
wherever you live and come to Bohemian Grove.
If you can't make it this time, there will be another. If
we're going to keep doing these.
God wills it, yes. But thank you. Thanks for coming on. Oh, hell yeah. All right, perfect, man. Hit me up later. Guys, I got to run. But anything else, David?
No, that's it, dude. I think that's all we got.
All right, man. Obey, submit, comply. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.
The greatest hypnotist on planet Earth is a oblong box in the corner of the room. It is constantly telling us what to believe is real.
You can persuade people that what they see with their eyes is what there is to see. You can't. Because they'll